It's time for the Film Crickets with Jay Foyer and Chris Martineau. On this week's episode, as part of a month-long review of horror films, some of the best and some of the worst from the 80s and 90s, Jay, Chris, and their special guest, Ray Auger, review the 1985 American psychological slasher film, Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. Does it stand the test of time? Let's find out. Your Film Crickets are on now.
Hey, friends. My name is Jay Fortier. I'm along with my good friend...
Chris Martineau. Psychological? Psychological? I wouldn't put that word on this.
You know what? He's
sorry, guys. Sorry.
No,
I know he is.
Cool.
No, it's just funny.
I know. He's not going to sit there and come up with the description himself to specifically describe. He's going to read it and go, there it is. That's what they say on the internet.
Right.
So,
well, hi, Jay. How's
even
it
if
going?
it's
I'm glad
classic,
you're here.
Yeah, good to see you, man. And I also like to welcome back Ray Auger, who is from 101.3 My FM, and also from the New England Legends podcast. And now we had him before on Stakeout, and boy, did we pick a doozy this week for him.
Thank you for that. I mean, it was psychological, I think, because it did, it messed me up just a bit.
Oh, a tad. Just a little bit, yeah.
It's hard to trust. It's hard to trust horror movies after watching that movie.
Yeah, you never know. It's like M. Night Shyamalan and this guy. You never know really what's going to happen by the end of this film. My goodness. So, yeah, so Friday the 13th, Part 5, guys. I mean, so what's the idea, Jay? Like, we did 5, and now what do we have in the future? Just so we can give the listeners an idea of where we're going with this.
All right, there might be a space between the episodes, so we're gonna do 2 with Ray. He's gonna do this one. See, my idea was we're gonna do a bad one and a good one from Friday the 13th. So the bad one is today, and then next is the exact one that followed, because this one, as you'll learn, Jason was not in this for other than as a memory. Mm-hmm. The actual Jason Voorhees character. So they, with Part 6, which is called Jason Lives, it's like, okay, we heard you, audience.
Yeah.
But
it's the original Snyder cut. It's the fans spoke out, and then but I think we can all at least agree, and I think why we like horror movies is because we're not expecting The Shape of Water. We're not expecting Pan's Labyrinth. When we see these movies, we're not expecting. Anybody see Crimson Peak, by the way? Just a quick aside.
Don't think so.
I've seen the trailer, and I was about to watch it recently.
So I'm going to recommend. Sorry, this is off tangent, but we're talking about good horror movies. So watch Crimson Peak. Tom Hiddleston. It's Guillermo del Toro. It's kind of the classic. The monsters aren't really monsters, and the people are the monsters. It's interesting.
Give it away, why don't you?
No. But yeah, but if it's Guillermo del Toro, you understand, that's kind of his thing. The grotesque isn't evil necessarily. It's just grotesque, right? So this movie, however, is just grotesque. It's bad news. So yeah, we're going to do the Part 5 and then part 6, and we'll see what happens with that. So this 6 is an apology, I guess, for 5. Mm-hmm. Is that the general idea? Is that where we're getting this? Right.
They were saying that in Part 4, I think it's wise that we go to Part 4 just a little bit. If you guys remember Part 4,
the setup, yeah,
so the setup,
yeah. Corey Feldman was in Part 4, and at the end of Part 4, he dresses he shaves his head, looks like Jason for a second to distract him, ends up getting a. Jason ends up getting a machete to the face and then falls forward, lands on the thing. I mean, awesome. It's just a way for them to say he's dead. Then they were like, oh, yes, but we want more money. So they were like, how the hell are we going to do that? We just killed him. Fine, we'll just do something where, So in this one, we'll discuss it in better detail. But by the way, they couldn't even get Corey Feldman to be in the whole film because he went to do the Goonies. Mm-hmm. So they got him to be at the beginning, to sort of. But we'll discuss all that.
We'll get into it.
Yes, but you want to do the rundown?
No, actually, before I do that, let's go to my my new thing. So Ray, and again, thank you for being here again. So when was the last time if ever, you saw Friday the 13th Part 5?
That one I avoid purposely.
Okay.
And I am so it's been a while.
You're welcome.
I am a huge fan of the series.
Yep.
So I usually watch 1 and 2 maybe. I watch 6 a lot.
Okay.
And I like 4. 4 I thought was a great ending to the series. And of course they wanted more. And I'm a huge fan of the reboot they did maybe 10, 12 years ago, which really didn't need to be a reboot. It just could have been a continuation. It could have been parts, whatever. But yeah, I'm a fan of the series, and I purposely don't watch that one. So it's probably been a good 15 years maybe. And I just watched it today to be, fresh on it.
All right, so you're coming from a fan standpoint.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, cool. And so in understanding that these, just look at any series, it's going to ebb and flow. You're going to have the crappy ones. You're going to have the ones that you latch onto, and the ones that are just odd. Like I'm a big fan of Jason X. I think that is the darkest comedy ever made. It's just not supposed to be taken seriously ever, which is a nice departure from the others. So, all right, so you avoided this one. You did see it a while ago. Jay, where's your history of Friday the 13th Part 5?
You want me to tell you when I first saw it, or like just last time? Oh,
well,
last time I saw it, I can't specifically remember. It was probably early '90s. But
okay,
it stuck out pretty well in my head though. Like where it's like it's not hard to remember. It's like there's a lot there. It's like even though it's not good, you can still remember a lot of it. But it's funny. We were so excited. Me and this guy, we were a couple of friends. It was around Halloween in 1985. And it was coming out on videotape, and we were like, it's here, because that was the greatest thing to us. And, we watched like half of it. We were having our own little Halloween party, like at his house. And
this Pug?
What?
Was this Pug?
No, this guy, DJ.
All right.
We hung out for a little while.
Okay.
Anyways, we... all three of us were hanging out watching this movie. We're so excited, and then mid through we were like, we'll walk around the neighborhood. It's one of those where you're like, I don't know, maybe we could always watch it later, I guess. And it's funny though. You got to understand, 15 years old. We get up and he goes to change into his costume, and me and the other guy are standing around and in the hallway, and then we're still checking out the movie a little bit, and then it just happens to be the love scene in the woods. And we start showing a lot more interest in the scene. Right? And the mom of the thing, she goes, I thought you guys were going out. I go, well, we just want to see this killing. Right? And she goes, she's awesome. She goes, you don't want to see the killing. Just totally nailing us on that. It was great.
I want to see the artistry. The artistry of this moment. The director really has this framed just right. It's reminiscent of Hitchcock and Vertigo. Don't you agree? No, I don't agree. No, not a bit. All right, cool. So that's awesome. I honestly, I'm a fan of the series. I'm a fan of horror movies. Jay and I talked about this. I'm a fan of good horror movies and bad horror movies. I like bad horror movies for what they are. If somebody is trying earnestly, even with low budget and no talent, even from a directing and writing standpoint, you're really trying to invest in something that you believe in, even if it's garbage. I have some respect for that. I will say I'm a bit of a poser with this one. This is one that I know I've not sat through ever.
Wow.
Not even with Jay. I rented it and didn't make it through halfway and I gave up. I know I've sat down for scenes of it, but these movies do kind of, and I, as fan as I am, they do kind of blend together. After a while, it's all kind of the same thing. Not that I'm not a fan, but it is, it's not a lot of depth. Right. So, it's kind of the same deal over and over again. We can psychoanalyze it as much as we want, but it's really the same deal. And so I never really sat through it. So this is the first time I actually ever rented Friday the 13th Part 5. I have seen 4, 3, 8 a couple of times, 10 definitely. I don't even remember what 9's about, though I've seen it. So anyway... So that's where I am. What is 9?
Goes to hell.
Jason Goes to Hell. Oh, is that the Freddy glove at the end?
Yeah.
Yes.
And they teased that crap? Okay. You see,
they
Freddy versus
before
Jason.
they knew they were going to do it.
Right. And people had always been like jockeying to get that movie made.
Yeah.
I would like to see Jason versus Freddy versus Ash, which was another thing, which was a comic book. That would be the bomb. So, all right, well, let's get into it. Because, it's a lot to unpack with this movie. A lot of nuances, a lot of panache. Very subtle, this film. So let's get into it. This movie is Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. Came out 1985, rated R, a crisp hour and 32 minutes. The tagline, if Jason still haunts you, you're not alone. Well, thank you for that. So here's the one-sentence rundown. Still haunted by his past, Tommy Jarvis, who as a child killed Jason Voorhees, wonders if the serial killer is connected to a series of brutal murders occurring in and around the secluded halfway house where he now lives. I would not really define this as a halfway house, but that's fine. Directed by Danny Steinman, who has 4 credits to his resume, and 2 of them are softcore porn. Written by David Cohen, Marty Kittrosser, Danny Steinman helped write it. We have Melanie Kinnaman, John Shepard, other people I do not recall, except for the only other person I recognize in this movie, except for Corey Feldman, was the halfway house, quote unquote. The head counselor is the guy on the boat in The Last Crusade who gives Indiana Jones his hat at the beginning of the movie.
That's right.
That's that guy.
How about Dudley from Different Strokes?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I forgot. Yes, Dudley from Different Strokes.
And
I forgot about that.
I was like, sorry, Dudley's grandfather. I was like, I know that guy, and I looked him up. He was in The Last Starfighter.
He was?
Yeah, he's one of the guy. Like he's gonna go for the record. Like
the trailer park guy.
Yeah,
that's cool. That movie's awesome, by the way. Okay, so let's get into it. Friday the 13th, Part 5. So first thing I have to say is I'm going to go right with the one-sentence review. A halfway house. I don't know that this thing. So Tommy Jarvis we open the movie with Tommy Jarvis coming to. He's obviously in psychotherapy. Because he's been scarred by the fact that his family was murdered by Jason and that he himself killed Jason Voorhees with a machete that he slid down, Jason Voorhees, that is. And he's been, I guess, kind of in a Michael Myers kind of situation. Like he's so scarred by this that he's trying to make a life of himself. And so they take him from a fairly, I imagine, safe facility. Are they looking to get him back into the public, into like common everyday society? They are transitioning him. I don't recall.
I didn't see any like psychotherapy sessions for this halfway house. There was nothing going on where they were trying to make everybody better.
Right. So the first thing they say at this quote unquote halfway house for troubled youths is, there are no rules here. We work on the honor system. Hello? What? There is no place like this. Like what? Right. You're right. What therapy is happening at this place? It's just basically camp for troubled people, which doesn't make. How is this going to work? And within 3 seconds, we see people having sex. We see that there's fights. Like I
like this. I like the idea that the rules are so relaxed that you take the angriest person in the house and you say, man, it's okay. You can have an axe.
Sure. Yep.
Yep. Cut some wood.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Where are the adults while this guy was cutting the wood in anger? There were no adults around, no counselors watching. And it's always disturbed me that the intellectually challenged individual got murdered in this movie in the most horrific way. I don't know if that was by design to make us feel for these characters, but I thought that was horrible to put somebody like that in that situation and use it as a plot device.
Right. And also let's keep in mind that it was almost like it was done so I can't think of the word. It was done so callously that it wasn't even like he intellectually disabled. I agree. Obviously, that's what they were going for. But really, he was just helpful and ate a lot of chocolate bars. Like, I don't even know how special needs he was. Like, it was just he was. It turns out he's the son of the ambulance driver. Spoiler alert.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
the son of the ambulance.
Yeah.
Oh no, I know. So he's the son of the ambulance driver, and he's just basically like. It's not like he's like obviously special needs. He's just kind of like. He's kind of chunky and eats chocolate bars, and so because he wants to help people, he deserves to have an axe in the back.
Is he troubled?
Is he? No,
Is he troubled?
No, he's not. No.
Even the kid with the stutter didn't seem to be troubled. The only one with the guy with the axe was troubled. Tommy seemed troubled, I suppose.
Well, Tommy does do that. When you piss Tommy off, he will do a full Nelson over the head flip into a table. That was a crazy move.
I love
that.
Like,
oh my God.
That is
like
great.
out of nowhere. Whoa.
So later when he's fighting the hick, they're showing full face that it's like, that's not him. Like he's beating the hell out of him. I'm like, dude, show his back. At least try to trick us. It was like a
kung fu movie.
What's that?
He spun around, he knocked the guy in the back, then fell down and like tripped him. And
no, but I mean,
when did Tommy Jarvis have time to like become a black belt? Like that's a whole other movie I want to see.
Around the same time that Michael Myers learned how to drive. So, so let's give the kid with the obvious problems the axe to kill a bunch of people.
And by the way,
not
only did he get the axe, but he was very dismembered by the time the sheet was pulled off. There was like missing limbs, like all like piled on top of him. Like, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't just like, so that what I'm saying is that guy had time to hack away before the people stopped him.
And I'm guessing you're not going to take a leg off with one chop.
Well, yeah,
so there was some sawing involved.
By the wood.
Ray, the times that I've tried it, it's at least 6 or 7. So, just
and how much time is that?
Oh, and you got to sharpen in between. It's crazy. like you don't understand. Like a bone will really take the burrs off of the edge of your axe. So you got to stop. You got to sharpen. They're gonna make noise. You got to put your mouth over them. It's at least 6 to 8 times. It's an afternoon, honestly.
Something dawned on me. I'm going to fast forward just a little bit for one of the kills. But something dawned on me as I was watching it. And I knew it was coming. The guy riding the bike's going to lose his head. We know that. That's a big part of that's a big kill in the Jason canon or the series. The guy was, I don't think he had a neck to begin with, right? He was a chubby guy, big guy, and he was always walking around like this. How did those cuts, how were they so clean? You know what I mean? Like it's right here, chopped right off, didn't nick the chin, no shoulders. It's just, I was digging a little too deep on this, but I was just surprised. Every head that is chopped off is like a clean, like they prepare you for it. Like just right there, just get me right there.
Yep.
And I thought that was interesting.
If you just, or if you're going to get your eyes gouged out, like with the big-breasted one that has sex in the middle of the woods with the other guy.
One of my favorites, by the way.
Only the eyes. So you're going to dig somebody's eyes out, and her eyelids are pristine. Just the eyes are missing. So he went in slowly with a spoon
very
to
surgical.
Make sure. Yeah, very. He's got some artistry to his kills.
You know what? I don't think we obviously we already have this opinion of the film. I don't think it's good enough for us to keep the audience in waiting on who the killer is. I think we could just sort of like explain how.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
It's a big part of this movie and why it's so bad.
Let's just spoil it now. So when the special needs kid gets killed, these 2 ambulance people show up and one of them like looks and goes and loses it, and it's basically what you find out later at the absolute ending of the film is that this was his son, and he goes and flips out seeing that his son was murdered and basically dresses as Jason, killing everybody. Now, first off,
Jay, can I interrupt you for a second? This is basically what you just described. I'm going to let you finish your thought. Just give me a second. You just described an episode of Scooby-Doo. Are you aware of that?
It's a Scooby-Doo film.
This is Scooby-Doo. Like, this is Scooby-Doo. You understand that, right?
With the mask being ripped off.
I know. Oh, it's Old Man Jenkins. Like, what the fuck? I mean, it's crazy.
It's Roy, the ambulance driver.
No,
no.
it was him the whole time. So I'm sorry, Jay. Go ahead.
No,
it's fine. I had to, that was I wanted to say that. I was waiting for the spot to say it. So go ahead.
No, it's just it's funny that they say the kid says, "I've been an orphan." He says, "I'm an orphan and all," like he says that as he's trying to talk to Vic, the guy who kills him. Mm-hmm. So Dad has not been in his life at all,
right? And
he's so devastated. I know he would definitely, he should be devastated if it's his kid, but like he's had, I don't think a lot of contact with him because he just
not at all. They said that at the end. They didn't even know he had a kid,
right?
And so obviously he didn't care enough about him. He's hurt. Like, oh, that's too bad. But I abandoned him.
How did he know it was him? That's my son.
He had the picture. He had the picture in the wallet at the end.
Oh,
he did.
And he had a picture of himself in his own wallet.
Yes, that's awesome. That is awesome. But
I rewound that twice.
You don't have one of those?
No, I rewound it twice. I'm like, is that a picture of himself in his wallet in front of his kid?
Because they wanted to do some exposition, like at the end, like here, just so you know, the guy at the beginning with and they kept showing just shy of the dog that looks left and right. That's really guilty. Yeah. Like throughout the movie, every time you see him, you're like, it's kind of him. I think he's the killer. But I was thinking, if you decide to become a serial killer, because by the way, the guy who killed his son never gets killed.
Well, I think we're supposed to think that he's the killer. There's like 4 or 5 possible killers in this movie.
No, but he got arrested. And taken
he got arrested, but maybe he escaped.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, all I'm saying is that he killed everyone but the person who actually was majorly responsible.
Oh, yeah,
and
absolutely.
Random people who had nothing to do with it.
Too. There weren't 4 or 5 possible killers because we're supposed to assume that this is Jason the whole time. Mm-hmm. Unless we know where they were going like we do now. But back then, it was just another Jason movie.
Right.
So I don't know why they tried to set up
that's so
all
funny.
These people to be, maybe that's the killer. Maybe that's the killer. Because we thought it was Tommy for half the movie, I think.
Right. So
and
really...
I like how it seems still like it's 1985, which in 1984, right? I believe it was 19. Maybe it was still 2 years
I think it was
prior.
84.
Yeah, well, for Part 4 was in 1984, but I'm not sure if it took place in 1984.
I don't think it did because there's a 6-year gap. Corey Feldman was like 12 or 13, and now all of a sudden he's 17 years old.
Yep. Yeah, he was way older, and it's like,
wait a minute, are you having trouble with time gaps? When we go from so wait, you having trouble with time gaps and not from Friday the 13th Part 1 to Friday the 13th Part 2? And now you're having trouble with a time gap? What the crap?
That's a good point.
You have a movable target here, Ray. I don't know.
A child and a full-grown man.
If you decide to become a serial killer because you saw your son get killed, apparently it hooks you up with some superhuman powers.
When he busted through the door, I had it right there. First of all, you think it's Jason, but we know it's the other guy. There's no way a human guy like Roy, who seemed pretty mild-mannered from the start, is busting a door down. Not busting the door down, crashing through it.
With his body.
Splintering it into 20 pieces.
With his body.
So
his body.
Did Ray, and I'm sorry if I'm blanking on this, did Ray speak ever?
Roy.
So I'm sorry, I apologize.
Yeah,
I'm talking a lot here.
He was
I'm sorry.
He did at one point.
Wait, are you the killer, Ray? I'm sorry. All right.
They were the 2 guys in the muscle car that got killed, the 2 punks who talk horribly to each other as friends, and called a woman a very bad name, by the way. I don't know if you caught that.
Oh, yeah.
So they were responding to that, and Roy was there, and he said, 2 words. I think the chief of police with his cigar, chomping on the cigar. What a cartoon that guy was.
Oh, yeah.
He said, I don't know who did this. And Roy just said, are you talking to me? And no, okay, have a good day, chief. And that was it.
But by that point,
that was it.
This was like his, probably fourth kill, third, right? Would you say? Third and fourth? He's smiling. Smiling from ear
obviously
to ear.
psychotic.
So
and he really should have killed his partner first. The way that guy handled the response at the beginning was horrifying enough, making jokes at the dead body.
Mm-hmm.
That's
how unprofessional.
But what we don't know enough about Roy to say that he has these tendencies to just. I mean, obviously, you lose your son, even if he's estranged, even if you put him away. Obviously, if you lose your son, you're going to be upset. But is that enough to make you go on a killing spree, Scooby-Doo like rampage and kill everyone?
People.
I mean that we have no. Maybe he is, but we don't have that backstory in any of this. And so, I never thought of this. And Ray, you brought up a good point. Was that the movie's a whodunit, but we don't know it's a whodunit.
Not at the time.
Until retrospect. Like, you have to watch the movie and then as a Jason fan, go back and go, oh, that was the movie that was the whodunit. But it's the shittiest whodunit ever because you really do think it's Jason Voorhees the whole time. That's how piss poor the writing is. I never realized that because I knew it was a whodunit going into it. Right. If you're a fresh audience, that's how bullshit this movie is because... You have to figure that in retrospect because it isn't a whodunit. It's Jason Voorhees, but it's not. Wow, That's garbage. Wow. I never really... I mean, I knew that, but I never made the connection. That's really shitty. Like, that's not good.
And what do we know about Roy? We know that he's a paramedic, right? We also know that he's an amazing special effects artist because of that mold that he had for his head. I mean, the ears were
not
detailed.
Just a bald cap.
Yes,
that's a
the
bald cap
eyes were dead. I mean, he knew. He spent a lot of time in his special effects shop building this whole persona. You know, I think when you snap like that, though, maybe you put the mask on, right? But I don't think you go into that much detail with the whole costume.
I did note, like at the end, I have that as a note when he finally gets his mask ripped off at the end. And he's fighting people in the big showdown at the end, which was garbage. But he's bald, but he's not bald in the rest of the movie. And when he falls on the iron spikes and the mask comes off, the bald cap's gone, and he has hair. And like, what is
Well, it was like sort of peeled back.
It was, so you could tell it was
you could see the hair, but it was peeled back. Like,
bald cap.
That is dumb.
But the
that's
ears were
that's a
deformed.
Scooby-Doo moment. That's an absolute Scooby-Doo moment. Oh my God. Oh my God, that's so
I just don't know where he had the time. If you're gonna snap, you're gonna snap.
Except
I know.
I don't ever remember anybody in Scooby-Doo going, "You fucking dildo." By the way,
she was fantastic.
The two hicks, man. Like it's like, and for the two people that don't belong in this movie at all. Like it's like they're like just so random. They have really nothing to do with anything other than to tell your crazy kids that belong in stay off my property and stop screwing in the woods or on my property. It's like
at some point they didn't have enough kills. At some point they're like, we need two more characters. Somebody write the hillbillies. Let's do it.
Well, let's look at it from this perspective. I'm not making an excuse here, but let's look at it from the perspective of the producer of this movie hired a softcore porn director, and I'm not even making a joke. The characters in this movie are like in a porn. They are introduced. Something happens they're introduced for no reason, and then they disappear, and they have no context in the story at all. It's the pizza guy it's the plumber coming over, and then the woman has sex with the plumber, and then the plumber leaves, and then the pizza guy comes over, and there's no context, and that is the Rednecks. Like there's no reason for her to be upset except for the fact that in the quote unquote no rules halfway house where kids can just leave whenever and have sex wherever, that she would be upset by that. But besides that, it's the same with the special needs kid. It's the same with all these characters that show up are completely periphery. It really doesn't matter what happens to any of them.
And we see this a lot. Yeah. We see it a lot in these movies. You need the cast of characters. But this was not only a bad movie, but the worst cast of characters, I think, in any of these Jason movies.
I don't know.
Didn't care about any of them.
No, not a bit. Nope.
Towards the end, there was an amazing robot dance that just...
Oh, I was just going to bring that up. It had no need to be in that movie. I don't know if she was like, you know what it was? It was, this young actress. She's got a future in front of her. She also breakdances. Let's throw that in the movie just to give her a little a little plug for future projects.
It wasn't even a good robot dance. It was pretty bad. I was like, and she kept going with it. Like, hold on, like, I don't want to talk to you.
There was a lot of horror in that movie outside of the horror, and that was one of the horrors.
Oh, it was so bad.
Why? So why is it then? So question then, getting onto music aspect and rhythm, I didn't know that if you sniff a lot of cocaine, you lose all sense of rhythm. I did not aware that was a side effect of doing a bunch of blow, that you do it and suddenly you cannot keep beat on a steering wheel at all. I don't know what. And by the way, hold on. I thought coke was expensive. This guy's an orderly at the quote unquote nonprofit halfway house, and he can afford lines of blow. What is happening? What was happening? But and then suddenly you can't keep rhythm at all.
Another despicable human being.
Yeah, like, they're all bad.
You learn right away. He's open. He's got the porn in the van. He's reading the magazine in the van on the way because they can't just sit there and talk to my coworker.
All this time and no titties? No thanks.
Yeah, it's too long a ride. So he's got. Sorry.
I think it's really something for the privacy of your own home. I'm almost 50 years old. I've never been in a car and somebody pulled out a magazine and just started reading it.
Right. So then he gets there and he talks to the lady that's in charge. And as soon as she walks away, he does some stupid gesture with his tongue. It's really awful and disgusting. So you can tell, right? Okay, terrible human being right there. And then it's like, as luck would have it, gets a beautiful girlfriend. It's like, how? This guy's terrible. He's not only not attractive, but he's ugly on the outside and on the in.
And I will maintain the fact that the reason that she first of all, that whole scene where he picks her up at the diner and she does the It's Showtime deal and all that stuff, that's all softcore porn. We've introduced a character just for the purpose of seeing her breasts and to see them get murdered. Why would Jason... I understand that you have a beef with the people in the... I don't even know why the ambulance driver even has a beef with the people... Answer me this, folks. I'm going on a tangent here. Answer me this. Why does he even have a beef with the kids at the camp? Why does he have a beef with them? I see why you want to kill the kid that killed your son, but why everybody else? That doesn't make any sense to me. There's no reason that he's that unhinged. And second of all, why do we have a scene? Why is he stalking a diner? He should be stalking the halfway house. Why is he stalking a diner? That didn't make any sense to me, because obviously this movie's garbage, which we understand. But I mean, it was just, again, it's a softcore porn scene. It was just an excuse to have a kill that didn't matter and breastises that didn't matter. And
they all matter. They all matter.
They all matter. They all matter times two. But I'm just like,
Why did he travel to kill Dudley's brother and his girlfriend? Mm-hmm. When he went to go see his older brother,
right?
Obviously, Roy had no beef with him.
Right.
I don't know how far they went, but it seemed like it was going to be a lengthy car ride.
I know this movie angered a lot of fans for other than the reasons we've already discussed, but this angered a lot of the fans because Roy got more kills than Jason had in any of the previous Friday the 13th.
And that's not fair.
The body count went to the ambulance driver. I don't know if that's still the case, like after that. But
probably not.
It was.
So I'm sure they corrected that at some point.
Yeah, it's like you handed the prize to the one guy that's not even, he doesn't even count.
So even if we go into this movie thinking it's Jason, thinking it's a Jason movie, we are used to, from 4 movies, we were used to seeing Jason. We were used to seeing his hockey mask pop out of somewhere. All we saw in this movie was this with a knife.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. That's all we saw.
You're right. Yeah.
Until he burst through the door. I think that was the first time we saw Jason in his full attire.
Yep.
And I don't even know if Roy had the mask on before that or not.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know. But that was troublesome going through that movie and only seeing memories and dreams of the Jason we know. But it's not a Jason movie if you don't know who the killer is.
Right.
We know the killer is. It's Jason. So show him. Right. The fact that they weren't showing him was a major mistake.
There was also other issues where they had to
It's
try
such
to,
a good point. I can't even handle it.
There's
That's
issues
so
on
cool.
that same note
Right.
where they had to try to have it not be as gory as it used to be. So
It wasn't.
they had to do a lot of cutting, like pan away, slice. Next thing you know, the person's already dead. Like like for instance, the robot dancing girl. They just show a knife going into what would be her torso, but like it also like appears as if they just stabbed a pillow.
Now, why do you think they would do that? Because
I don't know.
At the end of 4, with the machete in the head falling on the floor, that's one of the goriest.
I think they were catching
scenes.
pressure, like for
Wow.
like how much they've had the gore, so they tried to like lighten it up.
I don't.
And I also know that they wanted to continue the series as a trilogy, but not with Jason. They wanted the trilogy to have different killers. That was the direction they were going to go in. So maybe they were changing the whole idea and the whole form. But the fans spoke out at the end of 5 and said, no, we want Jason. Then they discontinued their idea.
Because that worked with Halloween 3 really well.
Right.
Well, at the end of part
Now,
4,
in retrospect, people like that movie, but still, it's like it's kind
But
of.
it has nothing
stupid.
to do with the series.
And I'm glad you guys brought that up because this was very not gory.
No.
It's so sad when you have a movie from 70 whatever, and when you get Kevin Bacon with a arrow going through the front of his throat, and just
Great
it
kill.
does. It's. I mean,
81.
you don't need to see the jugular and all that. Like the goat parts and
Sure.
the entrails. You don't need to see that. That's gross. But yeah, it was like you see everything after, and that's garbage. Like why are you doing that? He's more worried about naked people and about fornication than the gore. And horror fans, I think, want to see more gore than the other. I don't know.
Yeah, I
That's
don't know
just
if it was all
me.
him though on the gore part.
No, I know.
I think it was the whole studio or everybody sort of
Sure.
catching the pressure for the so they cleaned it up a little. But the end of part 4, Corey Feldman, as he's hugging his sister, his eyes go wide as if he's going like there's a chance he might be psycho because that music starts up and they roll the credits. So when you see Tommy in this one, that's why a lot of people are wondering, is it him? Is it him? The type of.
We didn't really get to know Tommy at all either during this movie. He was not a major character at all.
No.
Nope.
Even some of the people that get killed earlier on were bigger characters and had more lines than Tommy Jarvis had.
Oh, this thing's
and
a
really,
cluster.
the movie should have been about Tommy Jarvis,
Yep.
which is 6. I mean, the way they brought him back in 6, we'll talk about that at another time, but Tommy Jarvis had a bigger role. I just didn't like Tommy Jarvis in this. I think we could have explored his situation a little better.
No, I
Lee,
thought the
listen to me.
actor was cool.
Yeah.
I thought the actor, they picked a decent guy who looked, looked pretty cool. He would have been. I believed he was in pain.
Yeah, but he just loomed.
No. I'm talking about
He didn't
had they
contribute much.
used him more. I liked the actor that they chose. I thought they did pretty well for someone who's
I'll give you
unknown.
that, but I will say though that even knowing that it wasn't him, I never once thought it was him.
No,
Like I never gave any that it could even remotely be Tommy Jarvis.
No, I agree.
I always thought that Tommy Jarvis was going to be the guy at the end that because he killed Jason before, he's going to kill him again because he knows how. I never once thought, and again, to shitty writing, at the end of 4, you really get that idea of, oh, he's going to lose his mind. He's going to be the next Jason. And I never got that vibe at all. I always thought he was going to be like the damaged kid, like a Dream Warriors kind of situation, where he's going to be the damaged kid that has enough chutzpah to take the big monster out.
but he didn't even have that chutzpah.
No.
You mentioned earlier, that final fight was horrible, and
Yep.
it really just ended with Tommy kind of screaming and cutting his arm off. That's it. That's all he did. That's all he contributed.
Can we just put aside, unless you are Leatherface or Ash from Evil Dead 2, the chainsaw is the worst weapon ever. Like, it's a terrible, terrible weapon. It doesn't cut like you think it does. If it would probably get tangled on human bone and flesh, and it does, as we saw in the movie, stall. So it's the worst weapon possible.
But I'd like to
unless you're Ash or you're Leatherface, it's terrible.
I'd like to know how it can just start up so perfectly.
As soon as that door opens,
Like it's already at full
and you know what?
go.
Funny thing is, she didn't test it first.
No.
It's not like she knew that was going to
You
work.
didn't hear her priming it, pulling it a couple times.
Like all of us have done with those goddamn weed whackers.
Yes.
They never go.
Right.
Right. Oh, wait. Hold on, Jason. I got to do the idle. I got to do the choke. Wait. I got to read the side of the engine.
She goes, Roy.
Pump up, pump.
Roy, I've got it flooded. I've got it flooded.
Wait.
She calls him Roy.
Thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was I not supposed to know that yet?
Whoops. Sorry about that.
And so
I wanted to care more about the characters, I think. I wanted, like, everyone that died, for the most part, were despicable people. Mm-hmm. The way Dudley's brother, talked to his girlfriend, I mean, he should have been nailed in the head or whatever happened to him. Mm-hmm. You're going to get it.
Bitch.
Stop shaking this thing. Yeah. I'm coming out there and I'm going to give it to you.
Yeah, you're going to die, bitch. Or something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Sounds stupid. Like, oh my God, who are these people?
Do you mind, Jay, do you have something you want to say? I got to ask
No, I was
going
to say, I'm so glad the director took, and the writers took us to watch him have a shit.
I was just going to say, can you please tell me, somebody, and I'm sorry, but I rented the movie. I may have trailed off. I could have been correcting papers. So to my students that listen to this, hopefully they're not. Like, I was grading and watching because I knew there wasn't a lot of depth to go through with this movie.
Okay.
I was trying to kill two birds with one stone. I'm just saying, why in the hell did what's the little boy's name?
Reggie?
I'd call him
Reggie the
Reckless.
Reckless.
Yeah.
All right, the Reckless. Sorry. So he went with Tammy, Pam, the head counselor, Pam.
And Tommy.
They got in a van and they went to go visit his brother, who lives in a van with his girlfriend. All right. Yeah. Why did they do that?
He wanted to see his brother. That's
it.
all. That's the only thing. It's like, Grandpa, I want to go see my big brother. Okay. And the grandpa said no, or we'll see. And then he stormed off to the table.
Well, yeah.
And the
how many
grandpa gave him a weird
How
hug.
many? Okay. All right.
Was he in town? Okay. But he was like in the city.
Okay.
He wasn't down the street, I don't think.
All right. I'm sorry if I missed that. Also, how many employees of halfway houses for criminally troubled teenagers let their children just wander around aimlessly with no job? How is that a good idea? I'm not sure. But so they went to the van we introduced the character. Again, we have this big back and forth with him in the outhouse with all that stuff. And again, to your point, Ray, I don't care about this person at all. That has nothing to do. Why would Jason stalk a dude living in a van? It doesn't make any sense. And if anything, you can make the argument, again, this argument with Jason is that he is, I've heard from like film critics where it's like Jason is an embodiment of Reagan 80s, where if you fornicate, you die. Right?
Yeah.
If you drink, you die. If you have drugs, if you do drugs, you die. You're not a good person. Even if you are a good person, if you have sex, you die. And Jason is this thing of nature that comes in to punish you. What the hell did the brother do wrong? In fact,
He's just taking a shit.
And he's living in a van with a semi-monogamous, I guess, monogamous relationship. And they have a good relationship. They're not, I know they're having sex. We don't watch them having sex. They're as innocent as can be. Why are we murdering them?
I
He wasn't very nice to
You're
her.
gonna die,
He was
bitch.
not nice to her.
No, you're gonna get
that's
it,
right. I
bitch.
forgot.
Yeah.
I apologize.
All she was doing was teasing him, shaking the thing, and he's like, you're gonna die.
Okay,
But that's why we killed that guy, I think.
Of course, because he said bitch once.
You
All
know,
right,
I wish that at the end of this, Roy had a few moments to speak before he died. I think,
Really?
Because I think he really could have explained a little bit why he was doing what he was doing. We
All
could
right.
have learned if that he was absolutely insane, or if it's like, you know what, I'm just pissed off at everybody, I want to kill everyone. What was his motivation? We still don't know what Roy's motivation was to kill the people that he killed.
And he had the supernatural powers, like I said, because not only did he kill people, but he had time to pile them up all together on the bunk bed.
I saw. What was that about? Suddenly there was a pile of bodies.
That's a big Friday the 13th thing. Jason, which I've never understood about that movie, he would set up a body somewhere, somehow on the ceiling, so that when you walk by, the body just falls down in front of you.
Jump scare.
Or you open a door and there it is.
Michael Myers.
Jason is and Michael Myers, same thing. Genius that they have this time. I killed somebody. Now I'm gonna make it's like Home Alone with all the booby traps around the house. Right.
But
Jason is booby trapping the house with dead bodies.
I'll forgive the fact that the undead super guy can do that, not the crazy normal guy who has the strength of any of us three. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Isn't he just running around drooling, hacking people up,
lifting all these people? A dead weight is dead weight. Okay.
Yep.
If my 6-year-old is sleeping and I have to pick him up and take, I'm like, like, you know, he's a lot heavier. So you just killed these adults. Now you're going to pile them all on top of a bed. Like, it's like,
And I don't know how tall Roy was, but he was standing next to the chief, and the chief, he didn't seem maybe 6'1", 6'2". Roy could have been maybe not even that tall. Roy just didn't seem like the Jason presence that they gave us towards the end of the movie there. Like, that's not the body of Roy.
And I maintain the fact that Jason is indestructible, at least from part 6 on. Like, we can make the argument that Jason is indestructible because he's supernatural Frankenstein. And when we explore part 6, he gets struck by lightning and gets raised from the dead and therefore indestructible. I understand, like, before that, you know, playing fast and loose. First of all, it wasn't Jason the first one. Second and third, other things going on. 4, he obviously dies. They're right. There is no reason for Roy, who is not anything, he's just a dude, to embody this spirit of Jay. It doesn't make any sense at all for him to be able to do the things that he's doing and take all this punishment, which is why, again, I have a problem with Michael Myers, because he's not supernatural. He's just a dude, but he can take 6 slugs to the chest and be lit on fire and still walk. That doesn't make any sense to me. Whatever, not to digress. But I don't know. Well, let's talk again about terrible hospitals before we kind of, if there's any other thoughts. So we did Halloween 2 last week. And that's the worst hospital ever. In Halloween 2, there's no one that works in the hospital. The lights are always off. Like this, there are no machines. There's no security. It's the worst hospital ever.
There's a nurse and a doctor screwing around somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. So this hospital, though not as bad as the Haddonfield Hospital, is also equally ungood because we have Tommy Jarvis, who at the end does kill the fake Michael Myers, come out of his kind of catatonic trance. Jason Voorhees, right? And in this hospital, I don't know, kind of like the Gideon Bible in hotel rooms, this hospital happens to have hockey masks in the drawers. What is happening? Who put that there?
Not hockey masks. The actual mask that Roy was wearing, because it had blue on it. Okay? So forget about evidence. The cops doing a wonderful job. You know, like, just like, we'll allow that evidence to slip by and make it to the hospital.
I think we have to assume that was a dream within a dream.
Well, I'm going to have to.
No, he had a dream, but then he woke up, Ray.
Yeah, no, he
dream within a dream.
No. You know what, though?
No.
You know what, though?
I don't know.
Well, no, here's the thing.
I'm just messing
for the sake of argument.
Yeah.
The next movie, he's not a killer.
He's the hero.
So obviously he did not kill this girl at the end of this movie, which they tried to make you believe. Yeah. But
he's more well-adjusted in the next one.
Yeah,
sort of.
Yeah.
Him and Horshack.
Yes.
I was just gonna. You suck. I was just gonna say.
It's a great reference.
Wait till we explore Horshack.
It's such a great reference.
Oh my god!
All of a sudden he shows up at the beginning of a Friday the 13th movie for no good reason, but he's Horshack. He deserves better than that.
I agree.
Yeah.
And can we just say, and I know, I'm sure you both have watched it the Crystal Lake Memories documentary.
God,
I'm halfway through it again.
7-hour.
This
One
is my
day.
second
I
watching.
watch him one
Oh, good for you. Holy Jesus. I'll watch that. And if I'm, like I said, if I'm a teacher, so I grade, and it can't be silent. So if I'm listening to music, I'll listen to documentaries that I've heard, and I've watched that or listened to it 6 times maybe, just because from doing that. And I just love the fact that Corey Feldman says, I don't believe him, but he says he was upset that he couldn't do Friday 5 because he had to do Goonies. I do not believe that.
No, I think he was just.
And I'm sorry, Jay, get Corey on the show so I can ask him, because I do not.
I think he
at
also
all
had a
believe
smirk when he said it.
Yeah.
Because he
So
said
anyway-
Spielberg fucked it up by making me be in Goonies or something like that. I think he was.
But I just love
there's a little smirk there. So.
I love the fact that that when you see Corey Feldman in flashback of Tommy, all you see of him is in a rain slicker and rain coming down on him as the one shot, and then other shots are like a boy standing over a grave. That's, by the way, who buries Jason Voorhees? Just saying.
That's a shallow grave too, by the way.
I know, it's
He
big
sat
mound.
right up and took
Yep.
one step out.
Yep. But it's just fun. All I can imagine is like, okay, Corey, we're going to do this thing. We got to shoot it at your house because we're out of money. Well, my house isn't available. Can we go to my neighbor's? Sure. All right, stand in that bush. And we're going to bring in the rain machines and just put on the slicker and just look shocked 3 times and we're good. Like, that to me is the magic of movies. The fact you got this kid to do this, and like even the other cutaways when he's standing over the grave in the dream sequence, that's not necessarily him. It's
Right.
not. It's just some other person, and they just said, "Okay, stand in your bushes, put on a rain slicker." That's just awesome. I don't know.
Maybe he shot it on the set of Goonies. Maybe Spielberg contributed that little piece of film.
No, I think it says it's Wikipedia, so who knows how
No,
truthful that is.
they
but it said
mentioned
it was at his neighbor's
in
house.
Crystal Lake Memories. They mentioned that it was at his house or whatever, in his backyard somewhere. Yeah.
I almost bought the book for Crystal Lake Memories this afternoon.
The music was horrible, by the way, and it's going to be nice to explore actually some good music in part 6.
Yep.
As opposed to like the guy with the cocaine rocking out, not to the beat. What's he listening to? That's not good music.
No.
My assumption. First off, I have no idea what he was listening to, but my assumption is he was doing that to silence, and they tried to add something and did a fucking bad job at adding the music. Yeah.
Joe,
But they could have at least put a good song there.
Like how
the song she was breakdancing to was
you know
horrible.
when you see a behind the scenes of a school dance and there's total dead silence.
It's silent.
Everybody's like, just bopping
so
around.
awkward.
Then they add the.
We haven't mentioned for a movie that is so intent on. There was sex in other movies, but this movie,
it was straight up
sex is
gratuitous.
like absolutely gratuitous, like ridiculous. If you're gonna do that, why have the sex scene? This poor guy has a 30-second like entry to orgasm clip. Like this poor bastard the actor who plays this, it's like, done. Hey, I gotta go take a shower. What is happening? Like, could you at least give him? I'm pretty sure, Ray, and I didn't see it, but there's a sex scene in. Not that I'm looking for this because I don't care, because I'm 45 and I just don't give a damn anymore about these sex scenes. But it's like, isn't there a scene in like Friday the 13th, a reboot, where this like it's like hot and heavy and it's close-ups and all that stuff?
Oh yeah,
and they take time with it.
They take the time.
Whereas this
By the way,
like,
these 2 kids have been having sex a lot. I mean,
Right.
they kind of set that up.
30 seconds if they've been doing it.
No, he should have some time. It's not the first time they've done it.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like he's not a very, I don't know. It's just
And
this
how
poor
satisfied is she really? She's that was beautiful,
Right.
wonderful. Really?
Well,
Really?
it's like
Was it
Halloween
now?
1.
Was it?
It's literally
Yeah.
a minute or so when the guy goes up the stairs with Judith Myers. Literally, the light goes out. 2 seconds later, he's zipping up, coming down the stairs. Maybe I'll call you.
Maybe, I don't know. My favorite post-coitus quote from any Friday the 13th. It's not even. It's Freddy versus Jason, where you know that the boyfriend's about to get slaughtered because he just said something terrible. Is in Freddy versus Jason. It's like at the beginning of the movie. And the boyfriend and the girlfriend, he's a real jackass. and she's not great either, but she's I think the final girl maybe, but they have sex, and he's the one that gets folded in half.
Yeah.
And Freddy versus Jason. And after they have sex, immediately he says, she tries to cuddle, and he says, you know I don't kiss after I fuck.
Oh.
It's like, oh my God. Oh,
Somebody wrote that. Somebody wrote that.
I know. It's so terrible. And it's like, okay, well, he's going to die in about a minute and a half because he deserves it for being that terrible. But it's like, that is the worst thing I've ever heard. And he like shies away like, go get me a beer. You know, I don't kiss after I fuck. It's like, oh,
yeah. Ray, Ray, you nailed it. I've said many times when in movies like this and that, when things like those moments happen, you're like, someone took a pen and put it to paper and said, what do you think of this?
My favorite line is, you dumb dildo.
Yeah.
And somebody wrote that. I thought that was genius.
From like the mother.
I've never heard somebody call somebody a dumb dildo, whatever the line was.
She was the mother calling her son that. In this.
And I think he had a rather more than normal attraction to her stew. It was the gross slurping noises on that stew.
Not just that. Her prep.
I don't think there was any depth to that spoon.
I know,
that
it looked like
using.
water. It looked like water.
He was just kind of throwing it up in his face.
I'm talking about also as she's prepping it, like, in the pan, I'm like, there's water and whole vegetables and a chicken.
And then she spit. She spit in the other one.
That's so gross.
At one point. She was a little much. I don't know what angered her. I know her kid is dumb, but there was a few moments where he was just saying something kind to her, and she would just go off on him.
Yeah.
But these two people, it's like Rob Zombie would look at them and go, a little over the top.
That's a bit much, guys. Relax. And what's sad is, and you guys saw the documentary, the actor who plays the mom is just as sweet as can be. And so I always look at that like, the actor knows they're in a crappy movie.
Oh, even they know
it.
The son, like, totally not.
Yeah,
he did a decent job.
He was fantastic in the documentary.
Normally.
Right, it's like they know they're in garbage. I always think to Will Ferrell when he talked about doing Bewitched, and he actually said, like, he read the script, and I saw this he used to do stand up or whatever. And he would talk about doing Bewitched, and he'd look at the script and go, he'd say, "Whoa, I'm in deep shit." Like, he'd just look at the script, well, I'm doomed. And they say, "Well, what do you do about that, Will?" And he said, "I'm a professional, and I'm going to go in, and I'm going to do what the director says, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability, but I'm doomed." But you just do what you have to do, and this lady is the same thing. It's your job. Like, you have to do, unless you're so, but it's your job, and that must be just because she's been in like real movies, and now you're in this, and it's like you're in this softcore porn film that is like, anyway.
Well, what I found amazing was nobody really did anything after this movie. There's no like throwback actors that you rave about, like Kevin Bacon. Oh, that's one with Kevin Bacon, and most of the movies did have somebody who went on. Amy Steele in the second one, she's not doing anything now, but she had a pretty decent career at the time.
Right.
But all these actors, as good as they may have been, none of them did anything. This was just the worst cast ever.
Of unlikable people. Yeah, the worst cast of unlikable people by the worst director possible.
Nice.
For the situation.
And for that,
very nice.
Let's go to Final Judgment.
Yep.
What do you say?
Hold on, Jake.
No,
Jake,
that's fine.
I've got it. If you
it
want,
just felt like a cue.
If you want me to focus,
that felt like a cue, right?
No, that is a cue. You can edit this out. I really got to use the bathroom. I ain't going to make it. I'll be right back.
It's all right. Hey, just sing, ooh, baby, ooh, baby.
There was 3 parts in that movie where they sang things. The guy in the car with the hat that was yelling at his buddy started singing something. I wish I could remember what it was, but it was horrible.
Yeah, it was something stupid.
It wasn't
like,
something like
get
a
the fucking car.
teenager
Get
would
the fucking
sing.
car fixed, you fucker.
Yeah, but it was something else he was saying too. I gotta bring this up. I think I still have it. I rented it. I lost $4 on that today.
See, you know what's fun? Bad movies, they're hard to watch but fun to destroy.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I had so much fun.
And you know what? At the end of the day, like Chris said, I love good and bad horror movies. So yeah, it's fun
Chris.
to. Oh my God, there's Tommy
back.
just going off
Yeah.
on that guy. Holy cow,
Chris.
that was scary. Oh,
No,
Yo.
I was saying when you went to go to the bathroom, I said you should sing "Ooh baby, ooh baby."
Ooh, baby. He had a good voice.
And then the
He had a
and
good
the
voice,
girl,
poor guy.
Hey baby,
Yeah.
hey baby.
Jesus, man, can't you do anything? Stop screwing
hold on, I'm trying to
around.
find a part of the movie, Chris. Hold on.
All right, either you got the car started or you're a dead man.
There you go.
Rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tooey.
A rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tooey.
Tat-tat-tooey.
A-rat-tat-tat.
What is that?
Here's this young punk, and he's
Yeah.
singing like old jazz
And they
numbers.
both-
Rat-a-tat.
Right.
Thank you for bringing that up right. Rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tooey. What the crap is that?
That's
Oh
as
my-
bad as ooh, baby.
We can't.
I don't
guys,
know.
Gather around. We cannot afford a fucking thing in this film.
Yeah.
Make up your own music, okay?
We cannot afford any royalties. So any songs you sing either have to be Happy Birthday or Christmas carols.
Even the girl, I think the girl was singing something in the mirror too that was just. And I'm trying to. Is that a song? No, she's just making that up. And then in the sixth one, they decided, you know what, that was so bad. Somebody call Alice Cooper. We're getting some fucking songs in this movie.
yeah.
I like
Yeah,
that
you're right.
song, and they also have another song that was hard to get for a long time until you like. It's called Hard Rock Summer, which when she's driving the Firebird or whatever
Oh,
the
yeah.
hell it is, Camaro, and that song's playing, and I'm like, what is that? And a friend of mine had it on the box set, so I was like, damn, why the hell did it have to only appear on a box set?
Wow.
But probably a lot easier now.
And that probably
All right.
came out around the same time that Dream Warriors did, and that had Dokken in it.
Yeah, it was a little prior.
I think
it was
it's
like a year prior. I want to say 86 was.
Was it?
I want to say 86 for
Maybe.
Jason Lives, and 87 for Dream Warriors. Either way,
And Jay, who did the song on Nightmare on Elm Street 4?
Vinnie Vincent Invasion.
Vinnie Vincent
Love
Invasion.
Kills.
Oh God.
You ready?
Oh God.
They spent too
Yeah.
much money on the one
so
before
like,
that.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, here we go.
It's time now for Final Judgment. Are you ready to rubber stamp this bitch? Here's the Final Judgment.
All right, time for Final Judgment, and I don't know. I'm not sure if we agree on this.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Are you on the fence?
Oh no, I'm joking. Yeah. So
Jay, who's going first?
I can, sure. I guess. And
All right.
so, wow. I think there's a lot in this film that does not hold up. There's just so much like stuff with you. If you took anybody from a modern younger audience and you said, "Hey, check this out," they'd be like, "Good Lord, is there anything like? Is this even legal to air this?" You know, like it's just so much. There's so much offensive stuff. There's, and I'm not just talking because like it being a rated R film. You can have like it be dark and dirty or whatever, and not be like something that like there's just nothing I think that has any value. The story is really no good whatsoever. So I'm going to make it nice and simple. No.
All right.
I don't need to stick to too much other than just, there's too much awful with it. Like, so just
No. Yeah.
have at it, guys.
I think it's after 4 films, it's an offensive 5th try at continuing this. And I know they had their reasons. They wanted to do something different, still remain with the Friday the 13th vibe and feel. But because they left Jason out of it for the most part and just saw that hand coming up and down, I don't think it works in the series. I don't think true fans, even if they say, "Oh, I don't mind it," I think they're full of shit. I think you don't like it. I don't think it belongs in there. Maybe it could have been a TV movie, a TV movie of the week without the blood and the sex. The script could have been saved, and they could have just had a standalone movie. It wouldn't have been that good, but I think that would have been one of those movies that you like Chris, you were saying before, you like bad and good horror. This could have been one of those bad horror movies that stood on its own that became a cult classic. But because it was where it was, I don't think it works. I'm going to say no, absolutely not.
No, I would. With sound effects. Wow.
That was a specific copyrighted term that Ray.
That was so funny. It was such a mature analysis, and then
that's you know what?
That's me in a nutshell.
Fully represents the film. That fully represents the film.
That's right. You got one word, just like a Spinal Tap. 2 words. Shit sandwich.
Shit sandwich. Yeah. So I will say, it's actually it doesn't hold up. It wouldn't hold up now. I don't think it held up then, because of you had even the gratuitous, quote unquote gratuitous sex in 1 through 4. It wasn't as bad as this one. It was just obviously there just for whatever. The kills weren't as gory. There was no main character. So, I mean, obviously it went off the rails. In terms of it holding up today, it doesn't, because I honestly think even horror fans, and if you look at horror movies now, even not good ones, even ones that are kind of subpar, they're smarter than this movie. Like, this is just a dumb movie. And I think if you tried to sell this movie nowadays and say, no, it's a classic, watch it, people would just go, this is just kind of dumb. It doesn't really make sense of anything. And movies that you make now, horror movies, which are silly. I mean, horror movies are silly. I mean, they're all ridiculous in one way or another. At least they're smarter than this. They're smarter than this movie. So no, it doesn't hold up for obvious reasons of misogyny and making fun of special needs people and all the other stuff. Besides that, it's just generally not good, and it's not even bad enough to be good. You know what I mean? So it's just blah. So no, it doesn't hold up at all. And I'm excited to see 6. I want to see how, because I know that they try to come back as best they can from this movie.
It's fun. It's very 80s, and it's a little sleeker.
Okay.
Which I liked about it. They put a lot more production into that one.
Good. Well, there you go.
Basically, in this
so
one, we were
Jay,
in a blizzard, and we're gonna have a nice warm bath with the next one.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far. It's not Citizen Kane, for Christ's sake. It's just Friday the 13th Part 6.
I'm talking about the comparison between the two.
I'm
not putting it on Oscar level. I'm just talking about what we just went through versus what we're going to go through. It's just it's a lot better. So that's all
agreed.
I'm saying.
And it's a Kane hotter, right?
No.
Is 6 Kane hotter?
He still
not yet.
Part 7 was his debut, and then he made such an impact from 7 on that everybody thought he was always Jason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's just pretty cool.
But he put himself out there. I think that's why he always wanted to be the face of Jason, even though he's behind the mask. Mm-hmm. He, made it known, this is me. So you always think it's him.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
he's the only one that breathes heavy.
Ray, thank you for joining us for this one, and we promise to make it up to you.
Thanks, guys.
For the next go round. I think, like I said, there's probably going to be just timing on when we're able to record the next one. I think we're going to record another one prior to that. We're still trying to figure out which one that is. So we'll see you in a couple of weeks, and
awesome.
Right. Take care, everybody.
And everybody,
thanks, guys.
Ray, if you want to plug some stuff, get people to.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to listen to my morning show, it's music oriented. There's no reason to tune in. I am not selling myself very well.
No,
if you want,
what the hell? What the hell was that?
Great.
It kind of sucks, but if you wanna,
I have an example.
Okay, listen,
Ray, it's the best thing ever. I've heard it. It's fantastic.
Somebody once said, a bad salesman when they go, "You wouldn't want to buy anything from me, would you?"
Listen, I do school lunch menus, so unless you live in like a 15-mile radius of Milford, then you might want to listen. But it's My FM 101.3. You can listen online on the website. You can listen on our app. And New England Legends podcast. That's a weekly podcast I do with Jeff Belanger, and we talk about a New England legend once a week. We've been doing it for almost I think we just passed
Nice.
4 years, which is crazy. We haven't missed a week yet.
And you're heading into spooky season, as Jeff
Yeah,
Belanger,
yeah.
Jeff always says, like, this is like tax season for him.
It is.
October is like really busy, and I'm sure you got a lot of things on the slate. So a lot of neat stuff. So tune into that as well. And I do
Thank
it all
you.
the time.
Yeah.
I am a firm believer in that app. I use the map to try to find legends
yeah.
in my town. It's really neat. So I really do endorse it. It's fun. Again, not because you're here. I would have done it anyway. It's really cool. So you should check that out.
I appreciate that. Thank
And
you.
a couple of weeks for us, we are coming upon our 1 year anniversary of the show.
Congratulations.
So
That's
yeah.
cool.
We initially released like 3 episodes on YouTube, and because we didn't know what the hell we were doing, as far as putting it out, like distributing, putting it on a hosting site, all that. So that was all like figuring it out as we go. We're excited. Very happy to.
Yep.
It's
Good
been a
stuff.
nice. Fun year. So folks.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
if you want
agree.
to get a hold of us, I do want to plug that one thing that we brought up last week, and that is the 5-star request.
Go for it.
Now, basically, if you leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple, and then at the end of it, write, I'd like them to cover this movie. And once a month, we will pick one of those we'll cover the movie that they want covered. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and it gets us maybe some attention on Apple is what we would like. So
Yep.
Those reviews are important. So
Helps you out.
absolutely.
Agreed.
all right, folks.
Yep.
Have a great week,
Great.
and take care. Bye.
Cricket, chirping about movies.